How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Budget Build Garage. Today we're going to be removing the brakes and suspension on the Mustang.
That was terrible.
Was it?
That's fine.
I thought it was great.
Let's do it again one more time.
And we're... nope. And we're good.
Awesome. Alright, so we are going to tear off the brakes and suspension on the Mustang. We don't need them anymore. We have all new stuff. We got some cool stuff. We got some upgraded stuff. We got some stock stuff. We'll be putting that on in the next couple of videos. But we need to get everything off first and, you know, check for some cracks near the shock towers and everything like you normally do on a Mustang. We'll show you all that once we get this off. I guess let's just get down to it. Also, I think I had this in the last video, but this is the greatest thing I've ever got. Plus, I didn't buy it, so I just took it home from work. I'll bring it back. So, the suspension on the Mustang, this Mustang, is pretty terrible. We knew it when we got it. We knew we was going to have to do it, but we got it for such a good price. It was worth it anyways. We were going to rebuild it. But let me show you this upper ball joint right here. So, as you can see, it's all worn and cracked, and there's absolutely no grease in it at all. And if you take this, you can see the whole piece moving right here. That's bad. That's like brake, wheel fall off, destroy everything bad. So that's got to come out. We're not going to need any of this anymore. That's going to go away. We're going to save some of it, and I'll show you that when we start taking it off. But let me grab... what am I really looking for? Oh yeah, these guys right here. First thing you're going to do is remove the dust cap. If you don't have a set of these, you could do it with a channel lock. You could do it with a hammer and a screwdriver. There's a million ways to do it. It's not super difficult.
Hit it. Alright, you good now? Yeah, go ahead and talk.
Oh yeah, I just thought you were trying to make sure the camera is good. Alright, so once you remove the dust cap, go ahead and get this cotter pin out. Don't worry about breaking it because you won't be reusing these. These are one-time use. Do not reuse these. The cotter pin has stopped us. Dead in our tracks. Alright, cotter pin's off. This greasy cap is off. That's awesome. That just pulls right off. And then the spindle nut. These aren't usually really tight. If they are really tight, you probably have a problem. But yeah, it comes right off. Now, if you are going to be reusing some of this stuff, you might want to do your best to keep it clean. But I don't plan on reusing much of it at all. Now, wiggle that drum loose. Pull your bearing out. If you're going to be reusing the bearing, definitely keep it clean. Toss it in like a Ziploc or something. And of course, it's going to be stuck. Don't do this if you're going to keep the drum. There we go. So, like I was saying, if you need to keep that, don't beat it with a hammer like that. Just keep wiggling it. You'll get there. Take a picture of this before you take it apart if you need to reuse it. Seriously. Future self, future you will thank you. I'm just going to cut this brake line because we're not reusing it. Okay? Normally you unscrew it. We're not going to do that. To be honest, I didn't even have to take the brakes apart. But I wanted to show you. Alright, line is cut. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is remove the bolts that are holding the backing plate to the spindle. It's a 9/16. I'm going to try and get in there with this cool gun. You just get it with a wrench or a ratchet, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing because I doubt it's going to fit on all of them. So. Alright, so the last one I did get with this cool swivel guy right here, which is awesome. Cool. Let's see if this goes off. Yay! See that? That was classic. Alright, so that's it for this episode of Budget Bill. No, that's pretty much it for removing the brakes though. Like, as far as the brake conversion goes, it's like, that's easy. It's cake right there. Now we gotta get to the suspension. This is the kind of suspension that, like, the spring shoots out and hits you in the face and kills you. Like, that's a thing. Let's start with the steering arm right here, though. Again, cotter pin. Get that thing out of there. Cotter pins are like the bane of my existence. You never want to come off for me. Oh my god, it's so awesome.
It's like all
You
small.
guys need one of these.
It's like all small and gets anywhere.
I can't believe I haven't been doing this. Because a lot of times I don't really like to use my, oh yeah, so when you try to pop this out, give it a little bit of tap on the actual arm itself. You're not trying to get too crazy. A lot of times it'll pop right out, or you'll get unlucky and you'll have to really mangle it. But, you know, let's see where we're at. Alright, so I really don't want to just bang on the top of it really hard because I'd like to be able to reuse this thing for a while. Eventually I will replace it, but I don't have one now and I'd like to put this thing back together and actually drive it. So I'm going to take the castle nut, flip it upside down, I got this there, and give it a couple taps, nothing crazy. Alright, so it may have been somewhat loud. I really wasn't hitting it. I was choked up pretty far on this guy, so I didn't mangle it at all. Really good. Like I said, I want to reuse that. I'm looking for it. Oh, this guy. I'd like to reuse that for now. That's it. Yeah, see, it's great stuff. Cool. Alright, so next up we're going to do the sway bar link. It's a 9/16 on top. It is a 5/8 on the bottom. You usually do a deep socket because the post actually goes all the way through the bottom. So let's do that really quick. Dude, I really don't know what I did before I got this thing. Alright, so that's this. We're just going to leave it. I'm not going to bother pulling the rod out and everything because I'll be able to lower it and just come right off. One thing I didn't do, and I should show you on the other side actually. There's a cover for this. I won't necessarily show you actually. There's a cover for this that goes right here. I pulled it off earlier because I wanted to test the sandblaster. It's 1/2 inches, both sides. It's super easy to pull off. You'll see what I mean if you have one of these. There's no tricks to it whatsoever. But next up, while I'm here and I have access to it, I'm going to go ahead and put the clamps down on the coil spring. That will just kind of compress it before I pull the shock or anything else. Just because I have access to it, I might as well do it right now. And grab those. There's a couple different types of spring compressors. You have one like this that works amazing for Mustangs. What I've done is I usually get a plate. I have one, but I lent it to somebody, so I don't have it right now, so I won't be using it, which kind of sucks, but oh well. I put a plate right here. It goes on top of your shock tower, and it has 2 bolts that would go in where the shock would bolt in. You put this down through it, spread them, and basically just torque this side, and it pulls the whole spring up. Once it's actually out of the spring pocket, and you've gotten everything out of the way, you can slowly lower it down. That's one of the ways. That's probably the easier way. What I do have, and what we will be using, is the same stuff we used when we did the El Camino. These guys, one on each side. Just tighten them up slowly, tighten them up evenly, and you'll be fine. A little more time consuming, a little harder to start setting up, but oh well. That's what we're going to do. I got my spring clamps in. I'm just going to tighten them down till they relieve a little bit of pressure on the spring. I'm not trying to collapse it enough to pull it out yet, because I haven't even undone the shock. I just wanted enough that I feel like if I got the suspension at complete full droop, I could pull it out of there. Or at least wiggle it enough that I know it's not putting any pressure on the suspension. So that's kind of what I'm going for right now. I left the shock in there because it's kind of a more safer environment to do it in, especially if you've never done this before. These shocks have a ton of stored energy. You don't want them flying out. I suggest leaving the shock in there until you've collapsed this enough that you feel good and feel comfortable that right when you remove it, you can pull it out. That's what we're gonna do. And we'll cancel my socket on there. Switch to a rack. So, we're having some trouble getting the compression on the spring. We actually wanted to feel comfortable to pull it out. We didn't want to crank it down so much that it kind of got lopsided, felt iffy. So what I did is I went ahead and modified a steel plate. I modified a steel plate, drilled a big hole through it so I can lay it across the shock tower. And then I used that other style spring compressor I showed you. So currently, we have 3 spring compressors on there. Definitely better safe than sorry. Don't mess around with those springs. They can and will kill you. So seriously, if you think it's sketchy at all, take a step back, slowly undo it, restart, reset. Don't mess that up. I feel good about that.
That looks good.
Yep, so we pulled that guy off. You can see right here the spring's just hanging. So what I'm going to do is I'll slowly start releasing this guy, the top one, and then we'll slowly back these ones off too. The reason I wanted it on the higher coil is so when we start letting this down, it actually takes enough of the pressure off. Because what happens if you set it too low, because we had it lifted with the jack, so if you set it too low, when you try to take the tool off, you can't get it off. Because you run out of slack, like this right here, but then we're all the way at the end. So there's enough slack off here that it doesn't matter, I can actually just do this. But if we had gotten it any lower at all, we wouldn't be able to get this off. It'd have too much tension. So, we got the spring out. It was kind of a longer job than it usually is. No, I mean it took a bit. I just wanted the spring to come out easily. I don't like it if it's sketchy at all. I'll stop, I'll reset every time. It's really not worth risking anything, just taking longer time, oh well. So we got it out. Overall it was pretty easy. I just wanted it to come out as smooth as possible. Now we're going to break these ball joints off this control arm. Usually it's easier on the Chevy, the General Motors, because you have like the spring in the pocket. It's between the 2 control arms, so the weight from the spring kind of wants to separate the ball joint. These ones don't, but this ball joint's so messed up that I'm thinking it might not be that difficult. The bottom one, however, might give us some trouble. We'll start by removing the cotter pin and get to it. It's like hot rod style. Nope. Time to get messy with the pickle fork, I guess.
Pickle fork.
Pickle fork. Oh, I'm tired. It's been a long day already.
Should see has. My turn?
Yeah, sure. Yay! So on the jack.
Easy mode.
All the way down? Oh, you did it. You didn't unscrew that. I mean, I did that. I didn't even notice. Yeah, that's like all we're saving.
Really?
Alright, we're almost done. We got the lower control arm. It is a 3/4. You need one for both sides. Also, don't lose this bolt because it's one of those eccentric bolts. I'll show it to you when I pull it out. It helps you align this car. this is the bolt that goes to your lower control arm on a Mustang, most Fords, early Fords. So, the bolt here has been kind of shaved, filed. You can see it. It's flat. It goes through this. Holds it perfectly straight. So it matches this one. As you rotate it, it pushes. Well, this end would bring. It brings the lower control arm in. Rotate it around this way. Pushes the control arm out. This is how you align it. If you're doing hardcore racing and stuff, it's pretty easy to knock these out of alignments. They actually make plates with a few drilled holes in them that replace this whole piece. So then you have like 3 or 4 different adjustments, and that's pretty much it. But there's no possible way for them to slip and rotate, which is really cool. We'll probably be switching this to it, this car over to that style soon. Yeah, then we got the upper control arm, and then we're done. And then it's pizza time. Or burrito time, or something. Sometime. It's time. So, pretty much the last thing is the upper control arm. The bolts are back here on your shock tower. Well, the nuts are on your shock tower. It can kind of be a pain. I think this one on this side's easier from the bottom, but you know, we're up here at the top because this side needs to be done from the top. So, you probably won't be able to see what I'm doing. But I assure you, there's a bolt right here. That's it. Nice stamped steel arm. Beautiful. First thing you want to do, once you've taken everything out, is check this area here. This area here. It's super common for anybody that's ever crashed one of these. When they repair it, it starts cracking around here, where you'll see this whole area will be bulged. If that happens, you need to repair that before you can really put anything back on, because you're just going to mess it up more. I wasn't really worried. I don't think this thing had ever been in an accident, and we haven't done the other side yet. But these look perfect. There's no cracking. There's no no divoting like from it being pushed in or pulled out or anything like that. If you do have that, you need to address it. And if you got cracking, you pretty much need to put a piece of metal on the back of it and kind of hammer it flat until it's as perfect as you can get it, and then weld that up and grind that off. You need to reinforce all of that. So we got lucky. We didn't have to do anything on this side at least. We'll clean this up, put a coat of paint under it, and we'll start rebuilding stuff. Yeah, you'll be able to see some cool suspension go on in the next episode.
Right on, guys. Well, that was it. I managed to take apart all the suspension and do all the work by myself. So thanks for watching. If you want to see more of our videos, give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe. We'd love it if you guys could subscribe and support our channel. If you got any questions or comments, leave them in the comments box below. We reply to everything, almost. So do that, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.